All right, team. So if you are doing an image classifier, I want to show you the steps of how you can build an Automator script to change the size of those images. You're just going to open up Automator like this, and you're going to do a new automation, and you're going to do a folder action. And so I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to make a folder that I'm just going to call shrink images. We'll create that, choose it. And there are two things that we want to do. The first thing is finder items. We're going to rename finder items. We're going to drag that in here. We don't need to add these because I'm going to copy all of the files into the folder rather than move them. I'm going to go down, I'm going to change this to make sequential. I'm going to give everything a new name. So for right now, I would say I'm going to make my training data, and I'm going to separate it with a dash, and I'm going to make all numbers 2 digits long, starting at 1. We could start this at 0, maybe that's better to do, because then we get 100 images with that name. So that's the first thing. So this is going to take all of the files that you put into this folder and rename them as training. If you instead wanted to use testing, you would go into Automator and just change this to testing. We're going to leave this as training. Next thing, we're going to go to quartz filter. I'm going to drag this in. I'm again going to do don't add. I'm going to change this to image resizer. I'm going to change this to 64 by 64 because that's the size that we used in our previous sketch classifier. And I'm going to change this to fill, I think. I think that's the one I want to use because it's going to take the image and fill that 64 by 64 pixel space. You have to hit save. I'm going to save this shrink images desktop. I'm going to replace it. And let's try it out. So I'm going to go to some photos that we have for testing. I'm just going to highlight a bunch of them. I'm going to do Command C. I'm going to go to the shrink images folder. And I'm going to paste those in. And you'll see that those images just appear in the folder ever so briefly, because then the folder action runs and I'm left with these teeny pictures that I can then use for training. Although I am seeing those don't all appear to be 64 by 64, so I think I probably do need to use stretch. So I'm going to set this to be stretch. Like I said, I'm going to save that one more time. And then let's go back here, copy some photos, the ones I want to use, paste them in, shrinks them down, and now let's look. And now those all appear to be the right size, 64 pixels by 64 pixels. So this is going to be really useful as you go through building your images if you're using an image classifier for this project. So you would do these, you would move those to a different folder called training probably. You would clear these out, and then let's say you wanted to now do testing. You would go here, change this to testing. And then you would go to your testing photos. Let's just grab a bunch of different ones, copy those, go back to your folder, paste them in. And now you can see we have some beautiful testing photos or testing images to use. All right, so hopefully that helps you do this on your own.